Okay, this is Orlando Wilson. What I want to talk about in this video is something which pops up quite often, and I hear a lot of talk about it, but it happens pretty rarely, and that's penetration testing, where people will go and physically check the security of a residence, a location, etc., etc. There is business for it, but again, in a lot of ways, you have to be very careful, and I'll highlight a few things in this video. From a client's perspective, you need to be careful that the people that's actually doing the penetration testing know what they're doing, and they actually know the threats that you're going to encounter. From a service provider's perspective, you need to ensure that you do not, how can we put it, offend the clients, because that can cause a lot of problems and end up getting your contracts cut. So we'll talk about that as we go along. Let me check my notes. So the first thing with any type of penetration testing, physical penetration testing, and I'm sure it's the same with cyber. I'm not too hot on cyber. I've dealt a little bit with it, but if I need to deal with cyber, then I call people in. You need to understand the threats that clients most likely to encounter. If you don't understand the threats, then whatever you're doing is going to be a complete waste of time. Let me highlight something. Years ago, I know of one person, one company, that managed to get a job to do a penetration test on a hotel. Very nice boutique hotel, out the way area, they get good clients, etc. And they had a problem. They had some guests check in that were scammers and ended up robbing the hotel. There was issues. Anyway, these guys went and done the typical military penetration test. Went and got cammed up, got the face paint on, the camouflage, running around the garden of this hotel, or running around the grounds of this hotel in the dark, breaking in, doing all stupid stuff. To them, that was security. To the hotel, it was, what the hell are these guys doing? Because this has got nothing to do with the threats we're under. So this is where, from a client's perspective, if you're hiring people to test the security of an industrial complex, test the security of a hotel, make sure they understand the threats, because those guys were well and truly off. They didn't understand hotel security. They didn't understand the type of threats the client could encounter. So their penetration test was basic physical security, break and enter. Now, I'll tell you another one. I'll give you another perspective. And this is where you've got to consider all the threats, not just the threats of physical attack, etc., which most security people focus on. I done an assessment of a house in Miami. Very, very nice place. Prominent person. Very nice location. Okay, the husband of the house had done everything possible to secure the house. Everything. Done an excellent job. He's a big guy, and his carry gun, well, his house gun was a Smith & Wesson 500, 4-inch barrel, and he was big enough to handle it. So he'd done everything possible. The one thing he missed was the breaker box. The electricity of the house was actually outside, close to the road, and had public access. It was unlocked completely. So even though if you're looking at the security of that place, it would have been very, very good, you know what? All somebody had to do was flick the switches and all his alarms, all his electronics was no good. Why? Because there'd be no electricity. He'd be relying on his Smith & Wesson 500. So again, somewhere like Miami, stuff like that's very important, because when the hurricanes come through, you mean the electricity can be out for days. Did he have a backup generator? No, etc. So we're not just looking at the physical security, we're looking at all the things that could screw up the physical security, screw up the alarm systems, etc. We need to look at things from every angle. When you're dealing with clients, and this is another thing people forget, you have to work out the type of client you're dealing with and who is the client. And you have to be very careful with some clients because you don't want to embarrass the client. Maybe you want to embarrass the client or the client's service provider. Depends on the situation. I'll give you two examples. I did an assessment of an apartment condo in Europe. Very nice place, 7 figures, etc. And the lady that was buying it was a little bit concerned because she was wise, very intelligent lady. She didn't think the security was that hot, but the realtor was telling her it's top. The guy that's selling it was telling her it's top, etc. I went to the apartment with this lady and they called in their security specialists. And there was guys there with cameras with telephoto lenses taking pictures of locks, taking pictures of the window. They put on a show for her. It's complete and utter bullshit. And this lady knew it because she wasn't stupid. Okay, locks and windows don't concern me. They were good quality, that's it. Could somebody get into the building? And everybody's telling us, no, they can't. Okay, we went outside on the road. When one vehicle come in, the communal garage flipped up, we walked straight in afterwards. Instead of walking into the garage where there were some cameras, we went to where the garbage was taken out, the service entrance, and we were into the public area of the building, up a fire escape. Well, we didn't go up the fire escape, but the fire ladder was there that led straight to her balcony. And she had a ladder coming down from up above. So the place was not secure. But everybody was telling her and putting on a show that the place was secure. Even with the cameras in that place, they had cameras up. Nobody knew if they were recording. Nobody knew where the recordings were being backed up to, etc. But they had cameras. As far as I'm concerned, they could have been fake cameras. And this building had a lot of 7-figure condos in it. And nobody had a clue. But they were trying to put on a show because they wanted to sell the condo. I made those people look stupid because they deserved it. They were trying to con this lady. They were not being honest. I'll give you another example. Myself and Dionysus in Athens, one of my associates, we were talking about, well, we were offered something, it didn't come through, it could have come through, it might come through, to do an assessment of one location there, industrial location. And the clients, they're working on a very, very tight budget. We're dealing with a security manager. Security manager, very, very, very good guy, but they're on a tight budget. Now, we could go into that place and rip it apart. We don't think the perimeter is too high, etc., etc. They don't have a big budget. But I think the security people are doing their best to secure a location with the assets they've got, with the budget they've got. Dionysus is a drone guy. We could fly in some drones, etc., etc. We could make them look stupid because we could go in and say, okay, you don't have security on this location. Would we do that? No, because we don't want that client who's a decent guy trying to do the best that he can look stupid. We want to help them. So yes, we could go in and do a penetration test, but we're going to highlight the issues they have and try to give them solutions for the issues they have. Drones these days, and that location, drones would be a big issue, but you mean drone guns are very, very restricted. Drone defense systems are very, very restricted and very, very expensive. So, okay, we can give you some solutions to work within your budget. They're not going to be brilliant, but they're going to work with your budget. The other thing you got to remember, you don't want to go in if you're dealing with a security manager or dealing with, again, even the client, and make the clients, embarrass the clients in front of other people. They might not know much about security, but they could be trying their best to solve their problems. Yes, we go in and highlight the issues with their security, but it's doing it in a way that's going to be educational to them, and it's going to help them so they can enhance their security. It's not going in and just making them look stupid because you're on an ego trip, because we know more than everybody else. And I know a lot of people that operate like that. It's not like that. You need to educate the clients because you want the clients to come back to you. You want to help the clients because that's the business. You need to get people coming back. If you make people look stupid, word will get around you're an asshole. You won't get any work. Okay? So, short video on a few aspects on penetration testing, physical penetration testing. There is a market for it, but it's not as big as people think. So again, think about what I've said in this video, but the main thing is work out the actual threats the client's going to encounter and make sure you're providing the client with good customer service if they deserve it. In the meantime, I have an array of books on Amazon, including one book on threat assessments, etc. We got other videos up about threat assessments. So check out our content on YouTube, Instagram, and also follow us along because I've been a little bit busy the past month or so. We're busy for the next few months, but in the future we'll be throwing out a lot more content and a lot more information on various aspects of security business, kidnap and ransom, etc., etc. So in the meantime, be good, stay safe, stay out of trouble. Remember, this business is about making money. So you need to provide the service, and you can't go around making people look stupid just because you think you're better than everybody else. You're not.